Hi, welcome back. Sacred by Design. I'm Lorraine Youngblood, the interior designer, and this, I believe, is going to be our last video in the Design Basics series. Probably going to be pretty short, we'll see. I don't script any of this, so I just talk from my experience and knowledge base after 20 years. And today I just want to address some of the challenges that we find that can be missed in a kitchen design. So I want you to be aware of them because they can really make your kitchen unusable, and then, well, that's just no fun. So a couple of things to keep in mind. One would be in corners. Blind cabinets in a corner, spaces in corners. So as you get into we'll do it this way. As you get into a corner, let's say you have a blind cabinet and this cabinet goes all the way behind and here's your corner. You need 3 inches between this cabinet and the cabinet that's coming out that way. And that 3-inch gap, what we call a filler, that 3-inch filler is so that all the doors and drawers can open without hitting the hardware on the cabinet next to it. And so there are a lot of spaces in a kitchen where that can happen, and you want to really be aware of them, because we're not just talking about whether or not the drawer can open or the cabinet door can open, but can it open once you put your hardware on, your pulls or your knobs. And so you also want to be aware of how far out is that hardware going to stick. How large a hardware do you think you're going to be selecting if you haven't already selected it? You really want to be aware, especially in corners, of that space. Also, some cabinets, especially that have inserts, that have pullouts or anything like that, specialty items on the inside, and that door that might or might not have to open, does it need the ability to open a full 90 degrees? Or further, it doesn't need maybe even closer to 160 or 170 degrees so that you can get those inserts or those accessories out, pull them out of the cabinet. And so you want to make sure your hardware, when you open the door, that the hardware is not hitting on something to prevent it from opening as far as you need it to. Now, obviously, if that's not a thing, then it doesn't matter. However, you want to keep those in mind. Another place that gets forgotten is when you do a tall pantry cabinet next to a wall cabinet. Now, wall cabinets are standard 12 inches deep, and most pantries are going to be full 24 inches deep, which is what your lowers or base cabinets are. Now, if that happens, you've got your pantry and then you've got your wall cabinet. You want to make sure that the hardware, that there's a slight gap, a little bit. You don't typically need much, but you do need something so that between that wall cabinet and that pantry, again, so that you can get that cabinet door opened a full 90 degrees to get what's inside that wall cabinet. Otherwise, your hardware is more than likely going to hit the side of the pantry and stop it. And now you've got a cabinet door that is not opening by 1 inch to 2 inches from what it should be. And not only that, but now it's creating issues with knocking into the side of your pantry, which could also over time, cause small damage or damage to your pantry cabinet. So you just want to keep those in mind. If the cabinet door is 12 inches or smaller, that's in the wall cabinet, and you go to open it next to a pantry, that hardware is going to run into that. So you want to make sure you've got just enough of a gap. Sometimes it's only 1 inch that gives you the ability to open that door a full 90 degrees, and you don't get stuck with a cabinet door that's quite slightly closed and trying to get stuff out. The other thing that we'll typically run into issues with openings and what's going on around them is your appliance doors, your dishwasher door. If it's down and you're working in your dishwasher, does it prevent other doors from opening that maybe you're trying to empty dishes into? And where is that placement? And typically that's going to happen in a kitchen where you've got a sink on one side and the dishwasher is on the other corner, where it's down and now you're at a sink trying to load a dishwasher and all you're doing is backing into the dishwasher door. It's one of the worst placements for a dishwasher is not in line with the sink. Sometimes we have no choice in the matter. And if you have no choice in the matter, please just keep in mind, like, what's happening? Do you have the ability to make any adjustments? Even if that means putting a small cabinet and then the dishwasher if you have enough room. So there's at least that gap while you're standing at the sink where you've got just a little bit of playroom before you have to turn around and walk into your dishwasher door while you're loading or unloading the dishes. Oven doors, same thing. You want to make sure that the cabinets, there is a couple of cabinets that, again, we come into that issue where the door needs to open all the way on the cabinet to get the accessories out of that cabinet. And if it is next to an appliance like a dishwasher or a stove where the hardware and the doors on those appliances stick out further than normal, that door is never going to open the full 180 degrees it needs to open. I've run into that a couple of times. And so you really want to be aware of that. How are things opening? And do you have the space? This is also why we typically put what we call a filler or some small gap when you have cabinets that run into a corner. So let's just say you just have a straight run of cabinets, but there's a wall at the end. And so you have a wall and the cabinets go all the way to the wall, and there's drawers and doors in that last cabinet. Same thing with your upper wall cabinet. It's the same challenge. Not on, whether we like to believe it or not all walls are straight, nor are they all at 90 degrees as close, the building is what it is, and there's always room for error or non-conforming, if you want to call it that. So we almost always try to leave at least like a 1-inch gap or filler in between where that cabinet ends and where the wall is. So it looks like complete cabinetry. The countertop goes all the way over. Everything's beautiful, but you have that little bit of space so that when you go to pull out the drawer, if that wall's not straight or there's a door frame right there, that drawer and the cabinet door can open and the drawer can clear that space without running into a wall or a door frame. You really want to keep that in mind. Same thing with the upper cabinet. You want just that little bit of space so you can get that door the full 90 degrees open. So those are some of the things to watch out for. Checking your hardware on your cabinets is always good. Checking where your appliance doors are, how they're opening. Are they going to run into a wall? Are they going to run into another cabinet? Because appliances are notorious for having handles and everything that stick out much further than the standard cabinet. So you want to just check and double check and triple check all of those functions in your newly designed kitchen. And if you have a kitchen that has one of those done wrong, you know what I'm talking about. So I hope this helps. And I believe this is the final video in our series of design basics. So thanks again for watching, and we'll start a new series next. And stick around and come see what it is. Have a great day. Lorene with Sacred by Design.